This Week in History.
Three, two, one, zero, and liftoff.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
All right, Johnny, so I got a couple things for us on this week, although I'll get it out of the way right off the bat. 9/11 happened. We all know 9/11 happened as Americans. I don't want to get into it, blah, blah, blah. 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. Never forget.
Yeah, I actually totally but to be fair, it's coronavirus time, and so I have no perception of where we are in the year or day or month or anything. So
Also, to be fair, if you didn't go to college with Johnny, he was a part of an improv group called...
Oh no.
What was that improv group, Johnny? No, we're
No,
going to
we
go
don't
there.
know. We don't
What
need
was
to do
that?
this.
What was the improv group? Damn it.
Evil
Angry
Petting Zoo.
Evil Petting Zoo. And there was one time where they were playing this game called Stop, and Johnny runs around as an airplane going, let's play 9/11, man.
Well, I mean, to be fair, somebody ended up, so it was freeze tag, and so they're acting out a scene. You have to yell freeze, and it stops the scene, and then you tag somebody out and start a new scene. And somebody pretended they put their arms up like they were two buildings, and so I made a bit of a insensitive joke, some might say.
It was the funniest damn thing I have ever seen in my life. I don't care. It was perfect. Anyways, 9/11 happens. We'll get that out of the way. Ignore 9/11 because the rest of the world doesn't care. So, the very first appearance of the Pledge of Allegiance of the United States, I put that back part in quotes, happened on September 8th, 1892. So,
Okay.
this pledge that a lot of people get all up in arms about actually didn't even come about until 1892, 100 years after the country was founded.
Well, but I mean, to be fair, what they're really up in arms about is that people are trying to take out under God, which is part of the original 1892 version.
Well, let me tell you a story about this, Johnny. So the original version was written by a socialist. He was a socialist minister by the name of Francis Bellamy. And it was originally published in the Youth's Companion, which is basically like a newspaper for kids, like Boy Scouts before Boy Scouts, I guess.
Sure.
Bellamy's original intention was that the pledge would be used by citizens in any country, a human pledge, so to speak.
This guy sounds like a real left-wing nut job, if you ask
Which
me.
really drives it home. The original publication, and I quote, original publication is, "I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all."
So he just wanted to write a nice catch-all hometown
So
pride.
anybody,
pledge.
any country, like we are one people. We are
Right. We're uniting under this flag that we all share together. That's not
now,
necessarily the United States.
and this was how it would stand, and this would be a pledge that actually the Americans would take to heart and would start being spread nationwide, especially in schools.
No,
But
Tom,
in
did you misquote it? Because I didn't hear under God.
No, I didn't misquote it. That's the original.
But
And I say it again, the original, "I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which
United
it
States
stands,
of
one nation,
under God.
indivisible, no under
But-
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." In 1923, my flag section was removed and replaced with the flag of the United States of America because
I wonder why.
the only country is the United States of America.
And I mean, kind of a weird time in the world. Nothing major happened right before.
Yeah, it's a roaring 20s. I mean, we're all...
Yeah, everything's good.
Which, by the way, I mean, if you look at the fashion in the 20s, I mean, guys were wearing nice ass suits, women were wearing those little, I mean, I'm just saying.
That is the only thing that it's hard
I wish
to
the
argue.
2020s were a little bit more like the 1920s, except for the whole prohibition thing that comes. But anyways, whatever.
Yeah, the hard thing that's hard to argue about the past as far as, what's better now or then. Fashion has always kind
Fashion
of
was
been better.
always, well, you get to a certain point where fashion was ridiculous, like way back when with like royalties with all that weird. That was
like the
but
1400s.
the 1900s post.
Yeah.
Like
once
fashion
they
was always better older.
Yeah, once they were started to actually care about things and not just be like, "Oh, I have to make clothes because otherwise I don't have any."
Yeah, cod pieces weren't really all that cool. Anyways, so in 1923, like I said, my flag was removed. So the pledge is, as I quote, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible.
Under God?
No,
But
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now,
The-
in 1954, Johnny, in response to the communist threat, fucking Eisenhower decides to encourage Congress to add the words "under God," which I have to
Why?
remind you that, first of all, this was written by a socialist,
Yep.
aka a communist, little c. So to fight big C communism, we throw "under God" in it.
Were
I'm
communists
confused by
against
the
God?
logic. Huh?
Communists are against God?
I
in
guess I'm
general,
confused by the
or
logic
they're not?
of it.
I
I don't
because
know. I really don't know the logic behind why "under God" would fight communism, but I guess under
sounds
God
to
is
me
what
like
I'm-
they just kind of wanted to undo that whole separation of church and state thing once and for all, and just be like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and throw church into the Pledge of Allegiance.
They might have. So in 1954, Johnny Under God was put in to the pledge, very much against Bellamy's daughter's objection, who said, "No, don't do that. You
That's
shouldn't even have the United States flag section in it
right.
because it's very much against what the pledge was supposed to be."
Yeah, this wasn't a template, bud. This was the pledge, and like it wasn't for you to go and edit and change.
So that's where we get the whole "I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty."
So, and you might not know this, but at what point did we start requiring like elementary schools and stuff to start reciting the pledge before class each day? Like,
I
when did
don't.
that start?
It was relatively common from the get go when the pledge became popular, like in
So
the
in the
early
early
1900s.
20s? Okay.
Yeah,
Early
but I
1900s.
don't know specifically when it became mandatory, and I don't think it's mandatory anymore.
I think
I
they've gotten rid of that.
I
I just wasn't
remember
sure if it was like
I
a.
vaguely remember in elementary school doing it
I
up
did it
until
all through
about fourth
elementary.
grade, but after, like when I moved to Indiana, we didn't do it for whatever reason. I did it in fourth grade in Ohio.
Yeah.
We didn't do it in fifth grade in Indiana.
Huh.
I don't know if Indiana was a little bit more progressive than Ohio, which sounds a little suspicious.
I think it was city
Or if
by
we just got
city
away
because
with it
I did it up through middle school.
Yeah.
So I think it was just kind of a school district decision.
School district,
probably.
maybe a school district thing. Yeah, it could have been. It very much could have been. But in any case, I do want to talk a little bit more about the history of the pledge and like things that we used to do with it versus what we don't do now. And this is my favorite part. So, in the original pledge, in the original description of how you're supposed to read the pledge,
Yep.
when it was originally done in 1892, you are supposed to have your right hand over your heart while you're reading the pledge,
Right.
which is what we still do
We
today.
do that.
But when it came to the My Flag section, you were supposed to extend your right arm straight out at a 45-degree angle to the flag,
Why?
and then return back to your heart.
Why do you think they got rid of that gesture?
Well, and this continued up until World War II,
Oh, that's weird.
where this is a little bit too similar to something that maybe Hitler was doing.
So not only did they ruin the swastika, which was a symbol of peace and prosperity and cohesion
ruined the
between
pledge.
all the different things, they ruined our Pledge of Allegiance gesture. They ruined just the typical salute gesture for everybody. And he ruined the mustache. You can't wear that mustache anymore.
I don't think anybody really wants to wear that mustache.
Well, no, but if you
it was
did,
kind of a derpy mustache. Well,
if
Charlie
you-
Chaplin, it ruined it for Charlie Chaplin.
Yep.
Sure did. Well, Johnny, the last thing I got for us today, and this is purely just for you. You're welcome.
I'm
John
excited.
Smith is elected president of
Oh.
Jamestown Colony Council on September 10th, 1608. Your Johnny Smith with Pocahontas is elected El Presidente of Jamestown.
I hate you, Tommy. I don't like that story. This is a stupid thing that happened this week. Was this before or after he fell in love with and married Pocahontas, and then I don't know, did whatever
Watch our
other
Pocahontas
lies that
episode for more of that
movie showed.
information if you want to. I'll link that one at the end of this video because that was actually a good episode. No, I'm going to make fun of John Smith for the rest of this time here, Johnny, so you'll be happy.
Yeah, that's
So
good because
they
he was kind of
decided
an
to
asshole.
elect
Ruined
this.
my childhood.
They decided to elect this guy on September 10th as their El Presidente. A fun sidebar: on his way over to the colony in 1607, he was charged with mutiny and was planned to be executed by Captain Christopher Newport. But when they landed in 1607, the unsealed orders from the Virginia Company, which controlled this whole venture, because what people don't remember is the only reason why people came over to the biggest reason why people
Yep.
came from Europe to the the colonies, the New World, was because companies wanted money and thought that there would be gold in the New World or some other resource that they could exploit,
Native Americans.
and paid for people to go over there.
Yeah, they were funding venture capitalists.
Yeah, corporations were the original government of what is now the United States, which is kind of what it is now.
What? No, Tommy, we have
Weird.
a clear democracy.
Anyways, this Virginia
Right.
company, in their orders, designated John Smith as one of the new leaders of the new colony, so they couldn't execute him or charge him for mutiny because, well, the corporation said you can't.
So why didn't they just execute him at sea? That could have
They
saved
should've.
me a
He
whole lot
spent
of headaches.
the majority of the voyage from England to the Jamestown colony, he spent in a jail cell in the boat. Like,
God,
he was
so
in
what
the
was
brig
his
the
captain's
majority of the
name who didn't execute him?
time. Captain Christopher Newport.
Yeah, Christopher Newport's a real asshole, and he ruined my 5th grade year
He did ruin your 5th grade year, Johnny. I'm sorry.
by letting
Before
him
being
live.
elected in January 1608, the first shipment of supplies would reach the colony, which was burned via carelessness. So this guy really knew what he was doing, and this colony really knew what they were electing. Like, Jesus Christ.
So he got drunk
Not-
and spilled his lantern or something?
Yes, this is a guy who got charged with mutiny, got off on a technicality, burned the supplies on accident, gets captured by the Powhatan tribe, and then once he's released by the Powhatan tribe, they're like, this guy, he's our president.
Yeah, well, we haven't made too many great decisions regarding the people we choose to lead in the past.
I was
Like,
about to
it's-
say, I think it sounds like our politics have always been a little weird. We've
Yeah, you
elected
just
to
kinda-
lead us.
Well, it's who has that quote that's like anybody who wants to be president shouldn't be allowed to be president.
I'm familiar with the quote. I don't remember who
Yeah,
said it,
that's
but it's true.
but
yeah,
it is like if you want
power
that position,
corrupts.
you have no right to be doing that. Like,
Yeah, absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Like, yeah, all that
Yeah.
fun stuff. Yeah. Shortly after he's elected, the town would have another fire, which would destroy half the town and the food supplies. Oh, yeah. And by the way, the Indian attacks that he quote unquote stopped with the whole friendship with Pocahontas,
yeah,
yeah,
when
they
got
would
married.
resume. And he was only the leader until 1609 when he blew himself up because he got a spark a bit too close to his gunpowder charge that was on his belt, which caused enough of a significant injury that in 1609 he had to go back to England for repairs.
Oh, they were able to treat it.
Yeah, he
Oh,
survived.
yeah.
Somehow this dude blew himself up, survived the voyage from Jamestown, Virginia, all the way back to England, and then came back.
Yeah,
Like,
which to be fair, healthy people didn't survive that voyage all the time.
no healthy people didn't survive that. So Johnny Smith, I feel sorry for your 5th grade year, and
Yeah.
I only brought. There are so much other shit that happened in early September, like World War II's begun. But I chose these 2 things because I knew that
Yeah.
they would bring a smile to your face.
Well, I appreciate that. Everybody else can just wait till next year's This Week in History to find out important things that happened this week.
I mentioned September 11th.
Never
Yeah.
forget.
Never forget.
And that's This Week in History.